All right, let's go ahead and call this Pompano Beach CRA meeting, Community Redevelopment Agency, September 17th, 2024 to order. If I could ask everyone to please silence your cell phones or put them on vibrate, that would be great so we don't get disrupted during our meeting. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Seekers and Eaton? Vice Chair McGee?
Here?
Chair Harton?
Here, if I can ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Very good, thank you. All right, can I get a motion approving the CRA board meeting minutes of July 16th, 2024?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Can I get a motion approving the City and CRA Board joint special meeting minutes of June 20th, 2024?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Harrison, any changes to our agenda?
No, sir.
Very good. Can I get a motion approving the agenda as printed?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Most of our votes are unanimous. That's great. On our consent agenda this evening, or this afternoon, we will be pulling item number 2 for individual discussion. So item 1 will be eligible for discussion during audience to be heard, which takes us up to audience to be heard. Do we have anyone signed up today?
No sign-ups, Mayor.
No sign up for audience to be heard. Very good. Takes care of that. That takes us up to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion approving item 1?
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Item 2 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving and ratifying the chair and executive director execution of a sublease agreement between the CRA and the Melted Bar 7 LLC for property located at 126 North Flagler Avenue, Pompano Beach, Florida, providing an effective date.
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded for discussion. This item was pulled by Commissioner Fournier. Commissioner?
Thank you. I just know we've had the owner of this business here a few times, and this is a different location than she initially had started doing work on. So I wanted to make sure that she's okay with all this and that we've satisfied her needs, but also that the expectations of what it's going to take to build out this space are clear to everybody.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members. Kimberly Vasquez, CRA Project Manager. We showed the space to this tenant, and she was very pleased to be moving into this location versus the prior one that she was into. We've had a talk with her regarding what her expectations are of us as well as our expectations of her. So we're in constant communications with her. I am the only staff person she's appointed to communicate with. And yes, she does have the financial wherewithal to do this project.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to hear that communications have improved here. So thank you, Kim.
Very good. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion. Commissioner Perkins.
Yes, excuse me. I spoke with the tenant as well, and she's very pleased with this location. As a matter of fact, she liked this location better. So she's okay with it. Thank you. That's
Very good. Further commission discussion? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee?
Yes.
Chair Harton?
Yes, that takes us up to our regular agenda. Item 3 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving the East Financing and Implementation Plan and adopting the final estimates of revenue and expenditures for the fiscal year commencing on October 1, 2024 and ending on September 30, 2025, appropriating the funds shown therein as may be needed or deemed necessary to defray all expenditures and liabilities of the East District of the CRA for such fiscal year, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded for discussion. Good afternoon again, Ms. Vasquez.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, Board members. Kimberly Vasquez, Senior Project Manager. As you recall, back in July, we brought a draft budget to you for the East CRA District. This is the final budget, and I'll move forward at a presentation on it. Nothing has changed. Your certified values were 661 million. Your total growth within the East CRA district was 8%, and you see there it was really within your residential and your commercial properties. This is a snapshot of the budget. Your total sources are at the top, which is your revenue, and it's at 36 million, and you see it coming in a tax increment of 6.1. We do have building rentals, in other words, property that we own and we rent and we get revenue from those sources of 169,000. We have investment earnings of 75,000 and tax increment bond for FY 2025 for 22.3 million. And then you see a carry forward fund balance of unencumbered, unexpended funds of 7.3. And then on the bottom, you'll see our expenditures. Once again, total uses of 36 million. And you see that goes into operations, which is us as CRA staff, our city allocations, et cetera, our general operating budget of 942,000. You see debt service of 2.5 million. That is your 2013 A and B bond series, as well as new debt service that we may encumber into 2025. Our redevelopment projects are at 32.5 million. You can see where the funding is going, mainly into infrastructure and streetscape. You see a bond of 18.1 as a revenue source, as well as a carry forward fund balance of 7.1. This is going into the McNabb project. We are carrying forward with redevelopment initiatives, and we have tax increment revenue of 250,000, and this is allocated towards incentive programs, which is our facades, our strategic investment programs, et cetera. And then dissemination of information / marketing or getting our information out about our projects of 50,000. Our redevelopment ambassadors, or our FPI security guards that we have that rove around the East CRA district, that's 157,500, and that's in tax increment revenue. And then property acquisition, you do see a revenue source of $4 million in bond, and then tax increment revenue of 2.3 million. And then we do have a carry forward fund balance of 187,000, and that's all going into property acquisition and development. And then consultants and professional services, those are outside of what the CRA staff can provide, and you see that coming in as tax increment revenue of 350,000, and then it's going to professional services. That concludes the East CRA budget. The East Advisory Committee did review this budget on September 5th and did recommend the budget as presented today.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns. Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier?
No.
Commissioner Moss?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
No.
Vice Chair McGee?
Yes.
Chair Harden?
Yes. It takes us up to item number 4 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving the Northwest Financing and Implementation Plan and adopting the final estimates of revenue and expenditures for the fiscal year commencing on October 1, 2024, and ending on September 30, 2025, appropriating the funds shown therein as may be needed or deemed necessary to defray all expenditures and liabilities of the Northwest District of the CRA for such fiscal year, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and second for discussion. Once again, Ms. Vasquez.
Yes, Kimberly Vasquez, CRA Project Manager for the CRA. As with the East budget, it came to you, the Northwest came to you as in a draft format. This is the final budget being presented today for approval. The budget snapshot that you see here is at 96.5 million. That's the revenue we anticipate in this budget. Tax increment at 8 million. Interlocal project funding, that's as per the interlocal agreement that we have with our taxing authorities of 1.5 million. We do have miscellaneous at 241,000. That includes your micro enterprise loan repayments, building rental revenues, and investment earnings. We have a bond series issuance for 2025 of 64.5 million, and then we do have a carry forward fund balance of 22.2 million of unencumbered, unexpended funds. Uses or expenditures is 96.5 million, and you see that in operations of 1.2 million. Once again, that's us as staff, what we pay to the city for cost allocations and just general operating expenses. We have debt service of $4.3 million. That's your 790-800 Hammondville loan, which will be paid in full in 2025. We do have debt service incorporated for our 2022 bond series, as well as anticipated bond debt service for 2025. Redevelopment projects is where the most of the funding is going, and that's at $90.9 million. Your taxable values didn't change from what was presented in July. It's certified at $1.9 billion. Your total growth in the Northwest was 13%. You see it's mainly in residential and industrial. Downtown Master Development Agreement, and this is the CRA's obligation as per the Master Development Agreement with RP Pompano that was approved June 20th of this year. And you see the funding's coming in as tax increment revenue of $10.4 million, taxing authority interlocal agreement of $10.7 million, and then you see the bond series issuance of $63.8 million. The uses are going to your downtown district infrastructure, and that's at $59.5 million. Our development fee of $1.3 million, and then your downtown land acquisition of $24.1 million. Infrastructure and streetscape initiatives, you see your revenue coming in at $1 million of tax increment revenue, and then carry forward and fund balance earnings of $541,000. And this is going to the Sonata infrastructure improvements of $300,000. That's a development agreement that we entered into with Sonata for $1.5 million. We have one more year after 2025 to pay on that. We have 11 Northeast First Street, which is our property that we own, and we're keeping that allocation, and it's a carry forward of $700,000. And then Dixie Highway Atlantic Boulevard, this is not new funding, this is unencumbered, unexpended interest earning funds. Vertical project development is coming in revenue of $557,000, and then building rentals of $85,200. Our expenditures are tenant improvements at $120,000, and then we have our CRA building maintenance of $250,000, and rentals and leases of $273,000. Redevelopment initiatives, once again, that's our incentives that we provide. We have tax increment revenue coming in at $569,000, and then miscellaneous enterprise loan program repayment at $6,000. Our incentive programs are $400,000, and then we have our dissemination of information at $175,000. Area stabilization is $479,000 of tax increment revenue. Our expenditures are our redevelopment ambassadors, our roving FPI security of $359,000. Additional security and safety is $100,000. That's for cameras or anything in security outside of what FPI does. And then emergency rehab of housing stock at $20,000. Property maintenance, property acquisition, you see your revenue coming in of tax increment revenue of $1 million, and then carry forward fund balance unencumbered unexpended funds of $1.1 million. And you see that going to our property maintenance special services, that's $408,000, and then property acquisition at $1.8 million. Consultants and professional services, tax increment revenue is your source of funding, and it's going to demolition services at $20,000, and then consultants at $500,000. That concludes my presentation for the Northwest. The Northwest Advisory Committee reviewed this budget at their meeting on September 9th, and they recommended approval of the budget as presented today.
Very good. Thank you for that presentation. Appreciate it. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Please come forward. Just name and address for the record.
Mayor, Commissioners, City staff, my name is Ed Phillips. I currently reside at 384 Northwest 19th Street, Pompano Beach, Florida. Mayor, Commissioners, City staff, my concern is what it always has been. Have we already identified who the consultants are for the $500,000, or is that just set aside in the event we need?
Yes, we do have some consultants that we're currently using, and we provide a report monthly to the board, so that's in the backup. And then that's for any additional consultants that we may need as we go through the.
Mayor, here's a concern that's been coming to me, and I've always had this concern. If we are going to utilize consultants for the Northwest area, please find some African Americans who can partake in this endeavor. It would be a tragedy to not have any African Americans involved in this process. So I do see 500,000. I do anticipate that number going up at some point in time, but as now, if we're going to do this, please, and I'm going to say please, ensure that African Americans, consultants in some shape, form, or manner are involved in this process. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Further input from the public, please come forward. Seeing none, public input closed. Commission discussion, questions, concerns. Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
No.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
No.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes.
Chair Harden.
Yes. Item 5 is a resolution.
A resolution of the Pompano Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving and consenting to that certain assignment of the property disposition and development agreement between the CRA and FD Construction Consulting, Inc. to Solstice Townhomes LLC relating to 4 vacant CRA-owned parcels of land located on the west side of North Dixie Highway between Northwest 15th Court and Northwest 15th Place, and approving and authorizing the proper officials to execute a second amendment to the agreement to extend the construction completion date to September 30, 2025, providing an effective date.
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and second for discussion. Good afternoon, Mr. Tran.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Vice Chair, member of the CRA Board, new interim CRA Director. The item before you was approved as a property disposition and development agreement with FD Construction back in September of 2021. The agreement was to construct 10 townhomes west side of North Dixie Highway in between Northwest 15th Court and 15th Place. The first amendment to this agreement was approved in April of 2023, extending the construction deadline to December 30th of 2024. I'm sorry, December 31st of 2024. The CRA received a request recently from the developer to do an assignment and an extension of the development agreement. Probably about a month and a half ago, we did a groundbreaking, so the developer is ready to close on the construction loan. However, as part of the lender's requirement, they want a single-purpose entity to close on the loan and also handle all the construction issues with the project. So as a condition of the lender, the developer is proposing to transfer the assignment over to Solstice Townhomes LLC. That is going to be the name of the community, from FD Construction Consulting LLC. However, the developer remains the managing member of that single-purpose entity. So the second amendment is the amendment to extend the construction completion date from December 31st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025. That is the anticipation date that all construction will be done by September 2025. The staff recommends approval of the assignment and also the second amendment to the property disposition and development agreement. That concludes my presentation. The developer is here with Mr. Obel to answer any questions if you have any.
Very good. Thank you for that. Does the developer wish to make any presentation or just here for questions? Questions. Very good. This is a public hearing. Is there any input from the public on this item? Please come forward. Just name and address for the record.
Once again, Ed Phillips, 384 Northwest 19th Street, Pompano Beach, 33060. Mayor, Commissioner, City staff, my concern or my request is this. Oftentimes, when folks bring these projects to the area, they're not marketing to the neighborhoods, the residents in the area. My wish list is that this developer begin to market some of these units or this project to folks in the neighborhood, and thereby allowing them to participate either buying, renting, or whatever capacity they can with this project. In addition to that, Mayor, my concern is this. I do see the folks involved, and I have confidence in them. But once again, if the extension, probably have no problem with the extension, it's the cost that kind of is beginning to give me some concern. When you have a one-year extension what year did you say?
For construction completion?
Completion, then the cost of materials rise and thereby cause everything else to go up. So somehow, I don't know if they have any control or how to manage that, but if they could look into figure out how they can manage that so that the cost of these units would not go beyond affordability.
Very good.
On concern.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Further input from the public? Seeing none. Mr. O'Bell, would you like to address those comments since you are the part of the development team?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Commissioners. So we are not going to have to worry about cost increase for us. We already have everything set in stone. We have already, if you notice, if you drive by, we have the gates up. We have notice going out to all the neighbors. That'll be all the neighbors are receiving. The construction is going to be officially started. I know that was one of the requirements of the commissioner for that district, and I have hold true to that, and we'll make sure we're communicating effectively. So now it was voted a while back ago in regards to the whole ideal of affordability, right? So where we are now is that it's being advertised. We already been receiving offers, and we have not even put up a sign yet. People have been calling myself and also the owner, Jerry, in regards to purchasing. So we are excited about this project. We think it's going to be great for the Dixie Corridor. And also, Jerry and I have recently identified some resource in the community to help fathers in need that will pay for rent and utility support through the charitable work that I do. And so we're excited about all things around this project.
Very good. Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. Very good. Commission discussion, concerns, questions. Commissioner Perkins.
Thank you, Mayor. The developer, at the beginning, we of course had some bumps in the road, and we've cleared those bumps, and we're good now. And the developer is reaching out to those people or residents in the surrounding areas, which they said they would do, and they're doing just that. So on that note, we're good with the project at this point. And by the way, this is only just requesting an extension, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, we're good. Thank you.
Very good. Further commission discussion? Seeing none, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Vice Chair McGee,
Yes.
Chair Harton.
Yes, that concludes our regular agenda. That takes us up additional audience to be heard. Do we have any additional audience to be heard?
Oh, I just have one submission of Ms. Nika McLeod, which is to give comment, Mayor.
Okay. Okay. So it's a late audience to be heard.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Just go ahead and please come forward. Just name and address for the record.
Hello, Iniki McLeod, 2874 Northwest 4th Street. I just wanted to say thank you to Nguyen, Ms. Kimberly, everyone over in the CRA, all the commissioners. We did come to an agreement with the new place, which is a better location as far as foot traffic and connected to the backyard. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate that. So that would have been on a regular item. Thank you for that.
For the melted bar, the candle bar should be open, hopefully November, early December.
Very good. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you. All right.
That's
So
it.
that concludes audience to be
That
heard. All
concludes
right.
it.
Very good. That takes us up to reports. Mr. Harrison.
No report.
No report. Ms. McKenna.
No report.
No report. All right. Our next meeting date will be October 15th, 2024 at 1 p.m. Takes us up to our CRA board. Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. So one of the things we passed here today was the East CRA budget. And I've said this a few times up here, but implied in this budget is a 30-year extension of the East CRA. And I've also sat up here and asked for other options for financing the McNabb House, because I view the CRA vehicle as quite expensive when you layer in all of the overhead costs of a CRA. We're looking at, I don't know, $50 million in personnel over the next, over the horizon, 31 of miscellaneous operating expenses. So there's just a lot of overhead that goes into financing via keeping a CRA operational. So while we need to do something with the McNabb House, I continue to believe that we need to look at other options, especially given after 2031, we will lose the TIF funding from the county and the hospital district. So it, to me, is too expensive, and I look at the extension till 2061 and realize that my 8-year-old son will be older than I am when we still have a CRA that can only invest all of these dollars in that 158 acres in the east. So I think we should take the victory lap, find a way to get the McNabb House done otherwise. So that's that one. I still, Mr. Harrison, want options on if there's a way to finance the McNabb House besides the CRA. Second, I looked at the FPI backup in this month's agenda, and it is concerning. And I know we've talked about this, that you can't necessarily look at look at these in isolation and the number of incidents, but the East CRA is normally, like 5 pages, and we had 17 pages of incidents from FPI in the East. So perhaps they spent more attention there, or maybe there was more going on. But as we go into this October 1st deadline for House Bill 1365, the fact that we have kind of an all-time high of incidents in the East CRA with FPI is concerning to me. So is there something different that happened this month, or can we look into why there was so much activity in the East CRA? And maybe it's just spending more resources there, which is a completely adequate and acceptable answer, but I'm just trying to understand what's happening over there. And then third, I've asked a couple times about the parking lot, or about putting a parking lot in the vacant lot that looks terrible on Federal Highway just north of Tiles of Pompano. I don't know if that's the city's responsibility or the CRA's, but there are local businesses there that need additional parking, and the lot itself does not look nice. So I think we could both help business owners and improve the look by doing something with that lot. And then the last thing I have is my community meeting is tomorrow. It's a monthly meeting. It's moved to September 18th, which is the 3rd Wednesday of this month. We are having Senator Pizzo there tomorrow night at 7 p.m. to talk about condo legislation, insurance, short-term rentals, and anything else in the upcoming legislative session for our Florida legislature. So I hope to see a lot of residents out there, and we will be out there to answer questions and meet people. So it's at the American Legion at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Moss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John Knox Village is having a candidates forum on Friday the 20th from 2 to 3:30. So anyone who's listening from John Knox, please make it a point to be there. And Palmyra United is planning a candidates forum on Wednesday, the 9th of October at 7 p.m. at the Herb Skolnick Center. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Perkins.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one update. I'm looking for the Crockett Foundation. Is there an update on what's going on with that project at the Sonoma Apartments?
Mr. Tran.
Yes, new and trans CRA director. Crockett Foundation did terminate their lease with us, so they're out. They stated that it took too long to do the build out because of the delays and because of grant funding that they were going to use for their office space. They could not meet the requirements, so they self-terminated and requested.
Okay.
So the space is going through the build out. The Sonata developers did obtain their permits, so they're going to move forward with the build out, which is just an open floor plan, bathrooms, just the basic stuff. And we are going to go out to solicit a new operator in there, a tenant.
Okay, so we're just looking for a different tenant to do
Yeah, we haven't really sat down and decided on what the use is, but it's geared for office use, so an office tenant would be great. Somebody who'll take the whole 3,000 plus square foot would be really good as well.
All right, thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor?
I just wanted to fill in the commission. This week I attended MPO's Route to 2050 presentation at the Museum of Discovery and Science. That included Corey Lonergan from Broward County Transit. Florida Alliance was there as well. Beeb Fur was, this was the speaking panel, just discussing a lot of the plans. There's a website, route2020.org, that really maps out, and this is discussing the light rail systems, the idea of the rail port, airport connector, including, pushing for the north side of the trail thing. I keep in their ear trying to be like, let's figure out the bridge tunnel and let's move to Pompano, and really just pushing that. So it's really just interesting I encourage everyone to check out the website to see all the different ways in which the city, the county, the state, all the powers that be are really trying to figure out how to, in the long term, get people moving around the cities, around the counties, and make it happen. So, yeah, long-term planning, and a lot of us are like, I want it tomorrow, but it's very cohesive and a lot of very excited people moving forward. So it's, Broward County Administrator was there as well, and just a lot. It's an all-hands-on-deck project, and it looks as though all hands are taking it seriously. So it's great. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that, Vice Mayor. Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. I was very pleased this morning to read the paper, the Sun Sentinel, and saw some designs for a new bridge over the New River. That, of course, is critical. Getting across that New River is critical to commuter rail in the eastern cities, which, of course, Pompano is slated to get their own station here to help with the vitalization of our downtown area. So it was great to see those bridge pictures there of what could happen, hopefully in the not too distant future. But yes, thank you for all those efforts, Vice. Appreciate it. That's it. This meeting is adjourned.